Hey guys, so in this video, I want to walk you guys through how I personally go about using ChatGPT to build products and services, or at least to improve the products and services that we build at clientacquisition.io. Okay, I think this is super crucial because I'm not necessarily using ChatGPT to code. I'm just using ChatGPT like a crutch to make my creation effortless. Okay. I don't believe that ChatGPT will replace your need to be acquiring information and to be becoming smarter. But it will, if you kind of like get 10%, it will take care of the 90% of the blind spot that you have. Like it will take care of removing all the blind spots. Okay. And I think that's the most important thing for you guys to understand. ChatGPT will not make you a millionaire. Okay. But you kind of like need to already have access to the questions that you should be asking ChatGPT so it can actually give you the right answers. So it's almost like, you know how they used to say that, they're like, I forgot what is that? It's not a quote. It's almost like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I forgot let's ask ChatGPT. What is the quote that says that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, or something along those lines? Let's see if it will give us the answer. One second. All right, so here's the quote. I think the quote is much longer than this, but I think ChatGPT gave a pretty good example. It says that, or it gave a good definition of the quote. It says that the idea behind the quote is that when a person is truly ready and open to learning, the universe will provide them with the necessary guidance, knowledge, and opportunities to advance in their personal or spiritual growth. It suggests that the teacher or mentor may have always been present, but the student was not yet ready to receive the teachings. When the student is finally prepared, the teacher will appear in the right time and place. ChatGPT is that teacher, right? But you have to be willing to seek the knowledge and the answers. And it's almost like when you start seeking, you also start knowing what to seek. A lot of people are like, oh, but I don't know what to do. I don't know. Well, you never started even looking for answers. Of course, you're not going to know what to do, right? I've made millions of dollars in the last few years, but it's only when I started actually seeking how to actually make millions of dollars that I figured out how to make millions of dollars. People who are not making millions of dollars are people who are not seeking the path to making millions of dollars. Okay? But check this out. The same way that I had a little quote in my mind, kind of like I had like a lead as to what I wanted to kind of like, understand. And ChatGPT gave me the full answer. That's how you should be using ChatGPT. At least one of the ways that I personally would go about using it. I try to not read books anymore. Instead, I'll get a little bit of the idea and then I'll go to ChatGPT before I go to a book. So if I want to go to $100 million, I'll find a book that talks about how to, as an example, like from 1 million to 100 million. I forgot what the book is called. Ready, Fire, Aim. I know which book talks about how to go from 7 figures to 9 figures. By me knowing what that book is, I almost have all the answers. All I just got to do is come here and ask ChatGPT, hey, can you summarize the 10 steps or the steps that are in the book Ready, Fire, Aim? And it will give me the summary of that book. Now, instead of me going and reading a page that is like 100, 300 pages, I can just ask ChatGPT in literally 2 minutes, it will give me the answer that I want. But again, I need to know that the book exists. That's the thing that I want you guys to understand. You can't think that ChatGPT will solve all your problems if you're not already like just consuming the right type of knowledge. Like even you guys watching this video, it's me educating you that, hey, you need to actually kind of have the idea, and then ChatGPT will kind of like, it's like you'll have to do the 0 to 1 step, but from 1 to 10, ChatGPT can take care of it, or from 1 to 100, right? So that's kind of like the process that I personally use with ChatGPT. I find the idea, I find the source of answers, and then I go ask ChatGPT, hey, please elaborate on what I need to understand. Okay. Now let me show you guys how I'm personally using it within this new process. So I'm revamping our main flow for our flagship service, which is our goal is to create an extra 50K profit, 100K profit per month for companies who are service-based businesses, who are, maybe marketing companies, sales companies. We help them build their recruiting. We help them dial in their offer. We help them dial in a lot of things in order for us to produce the revenue that they want, right? We help the founders be more free and more profitable. Now, I was currently building out the flow for one of the process that we're going to be following. So our goal is that when you become a client, we want to dial in your offer, your pricing, and your positioning and your client acquisition infrastructure. And so because we can't just come in and build appointment setting teams, dial in your marketing and dial in your sales if your offer and pricing are messed up. We start with offer and pricing. And the way that I'm going to show you guys an example real quick on pricing. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is actually coming into a company and dialing in their pricing structure. Hey, real quick, before you finish watching this video, just wanted to let you know that I have something pretty special for you. If you're currently struggling with your offer, maybe you're facing resistance within your sales calls, or you're struggling to book enough sales calls on your calendar to be able to scale past 50K to 100K a month profit, or maybe you're not really a great closer, or you're struggling to scale your fulfillment and that's the reason why you can't scale, I'll leave a training down below where I actually broke down everything we did to help 5 agencies add an extra combined 300K a month in monthly recurring revenue in just 90 days. Okay, I broke everything down, and this is probably one of the best trainings that I've ever released. If you want to check it out, click the link below and get it. Again, I'll let you enjoy your video. Bye. Okay, and the first thing that I did is, I know that Hormozi talked about price to value discrepancy. I know he talked about pricing, right? So what I did is, because I knew what the answer was, but I wanted to kind of like ask ChatGPT to kind of like refresh my mind on how to kind of like the thought process and the process to use about finding a really dialed in a good pricing structure, right? So I was like, hey, based on the $100 million offer by Hormozi, how does one decide on pricing? I asked a general question. And then what it told me that, hey, in the book $100 million offer, Hormozi describes his pricing methodology, which is based on the concept of value-based pricing. This approach that involves determining the value that a product or service provides to the customer and pricing it accordingly. Okay? This means that when you're pricing a service, you do not price it based on like, oh, well, I'm paying this VA $3 an hour, so I should charge my service $6 an hour so I can profit $3 an hour. That's not how it works. You should never price your service based on the production cost of the service or the current market state, the current market pricing or the current market competition. Do not look around you to try to judge, oh, this guy is charging $2,000 to run Facebook ad, I should charge the same. That's not how it works. You need to charge it based off of one thing and one thing only. What is the value that you can deliver to this client? And most importantly, what is the perceived value of the thing that you're doing? Okay? So what I decided and then to even get clearer, I was like, hey, based on this answer, does it mean that the solution can be priced higher depending on who the customer is? I already knew this answer, but I wanted to see the explanation that this tool gives me. Yeah, so it says, yes, value-based pricing recognizes that different customers may perceive different values in the same product or service. Therefore, the price may be different for each customer segment. For example, a product that is priced at $50 for an average consumer may be priced at $500 for a business that can realize significant cost savings or revenue growth by using the product, right? In this approach, the pricing is not solely determined by the cost of production or the competition in the market, but also takes into account the unique needs and goals and pain points of each customer segment. This allows the business to capture the full value that their product or service provides to each customer segment, which can result in higher profits and more sustainable business model, right? Now check this out. So now understanding this, that, hey, pricing is not actually dependent on the market or how much it costs me to produce this. It is actually dependent on, one, what is the expected value that I can deliver, and what does the prospect perceive what I'm about to provide them worth to them? Like what do they perceive the service as? So what I decided to do is when we're consulting our companies, the clients that we're working with on their pricing, this is the process. We're going to be like, hey, insight number one. So we're actually going to be educating clients around this insight. Price based on perceived value and not on cost of production or market competition. Step one. We need the client to understand this. The second step is, hey, which segment of the market would receive the highest value from your service? That's step two when we're consulting you on your pricing. We're going to help you find the segment of the market. There are multiple segments. So as an example for me, I'll give you guys a quick example on our segments. So there's a segment of people who are doing 0 to 10K per month. And then there's another segment of people doing 15K, 20K, 30K, 50K, even up to 100K per month. That's kind of like the second segment. And then there's another segment of companies doing 7 figures or more. And then the fourth segment would be companies doing like 5, 10 million dollars or more, right? Now, if I'm trying to go after the segment that will value my service the most, guess what? I'm not going to go to the person who's making 5K per month, because even if I was to give them this thing, the most amount of value, there's so much into their beginning phase that the value that I can really contribute to them in a short time span is really nothing. It's not as important, right? Because when you're starting out, you have to deal more with yourself. But if someone comes into my company and they start running ads and they spend, let's say, $500 a day, and I get 50 appointments in a day, I could literally make $100,000 in a single day. So now the value that they can bring to my business versus someone who's just making 5, 10K a month is completely different. Therefore, the way that they charge is completely different. Okay? So this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be helping clients pick the best segment for their offer when we're doing pricing. And then we're going to create a hypothesis on the value to be added by your service in potential monthly recurring revenue that can be added and annual recurring revenue. And then what we're going to do is we're going to price their offer 10% of the potential value to be added, right? This is our process around picking price. We first understand that pricing is made up, and it's based on who the person we're selling to, how do they perceive their service that we're going to be offering them and the value. And also, I just had this thought, and I want to come into this. I know people don't offer services that deliver like an ROI immediately, right? I don't want you to see it that way. If your service saves people time, it's kind of like it just grows their brand as an example. What you should be looking at is, what is the cost of the founder's time? So as an example, our company makes multiple 6 figures a month, right? I would divide that by a certain amount of hours worked every week. And for that founder, you're like, hey, how much time are you spending normally doing this shit? And then they'll say, oh, I was spending, maybe 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week for someone who's making millions and millions of dollars every single year is probably worth $5,000 in cost, in opportunity cost for the founder, because they're doing something that is costing them 5 hours. If you times that by 4 weeks, that's $20,000. All you have to do is just charge 10% of the $20,000 or whatever, or maybe even $5,000, whatever that is. Maybe your service also can bring in more. You're not just saving them money, but you're also adding more money in the future. So you can actually start charging based off of that. Charge based off like, hey, who was doing this and what is it costing them not to do it, even if your service is not necessarily about a specific ROI, right? So that's how I kind of go by using ChatGPT to build products and services. And can also show you guys what are the next questions that I asked. I also asked, hey, what would the process look like figuring out who is the prospect who will have the highest perceived value of the service, then testing different pricing. What is the rule of thumb on deciding on pricing if I have a hypothesis on the value we can create? And then he gave me just a breakdown of the good stuff. And it also, mentioned something like, hey, this may involve conducting cost-benefit analysis and determining a pricing range that is acceptable for both the business and the customer. And I was like, hey, what is a cost-benefit analysis and how do you conduct such an analysis? So at the same time, I'm also learning new stuff, right? So That's how we do things. Um, so yeah, this is good stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little section. I'm back to work. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye. Hey, so just wanted to take a moment to thank you for having watched this video and to remind you of something really, really important. And that is the fact that you deserve more, you deserve better, and most importantly, you owe it to yourself to be great, okay? I want you to always remember that. Always, always, and never forget it, because it is a thing that has changed my life when I realized, or when I actually just made the decision that I deserved to be great and it was my duty to become great, because not only did my life become better, but everyone's life in my life became better. So find this helpful and keep coming back for more bangers, because I won't stop dropping them. Bye bye.